Boom. Sorry guys, we're here with another back testing session. Let me show y'all something real quick. Alright, we got NQ. We're currently on a 1 minute time frame. I had already marked everything out that I needed for this, but let me show y'all. Alright, over here I got my higher time frame, which is a 15-minute time frame. I marked out the leg, and then I also marked out a zone of interest. Now over here will be one of my zones. I have multiple zones that I like to mark out. This one would be like the flip zone. So it's basically like where the support and the resistance likes to flip. I know not too many people like to trade that as a higher time frame zone, but I do. So boom, I have my flip zone marked out. I have my OTE, so any trade I'm thinking to take should be in this area right here. So then boom, and we're on what, 6 p.m. We got the PM session open. So now that I have all that marked out, going back down to my 1 minute time frame. Alright. Now, basically what I'm trying to target over here is a higher time frame continuation, but I'm trying to catch that with a lower time frame reversal. So let me see. Because right now in the higher time frame, like the higher time frame, let me switch it real quick. Like the 1 hour, 4 hour, it should be, well, not it should be, it is an uptrend as of right now. Let me show y'all that real quick. Y'all see that? It's a nice uptrend. Very simple. Now, let me see. Going back down to the 15 minute, even on the 15 minute, it's still an uptrend. So like I said, I'm basically just trying to catch a continuation, even if it's very short. Alright. But now that y'all understand that, back to the 1 minute time frame. Alright. Now, as I let this play out, I'm basically just looking for anything that would indicate that, price might reverse. Like maybe a break of structure, a strong inverse fair value gap, stuff of that sort. Alright. So let's play it. As you can see, it's still continuing its downtrend. Still continuing the downtrend. Alright, now let me see. Going down further. No, I'm not gonna do that. Alright, right here. That's a pretty good sign. Not good enough to enter off of, but it's a pretty good sign that, sellers are slowing down a little bit. It just took this high. Alright, keep it going. Alright. And it looks like, yep, it failed to take that low. Alright, that's great. Well, actually, never mind, it just took the low. And it caused an inverse right here. So, I don't have enough confirmation yet to really do too much. So, we're just still looking at it. Alright, swept that low. Now, if there was an aggressive inverse right here, a setup might come up, but if not, we just keep watching. I got that aggressive, the aggressive inverse that I was looking for. Alright, so let me mark all this out for y'all. it swept this low right here. You know, probably generated some power off of that. Created an inverse right here. All right. Now I'm looking for a few things before I fully confirm this trade. One, it makes a strong displacement, like another fair value gap, and then I'll wait for it to retrace into that fair value gap, or just a good change in the state of the delivery. All right, very strong displacement. All right, it made a good change in the state. Now I could enter off of this, but there is a fair value gap over here and over here. So I'm just going to be patient, and I'm going to wait to see if it's going to retrace into any of those fair value gaps. But if it doesn't and it keeps going without me, just live to trade another day. All right. Price looks like it's losing momentum at that area right there. Yeah, it looks like it's struggling to push up. Maybe not. Yep, it is. All right, great. All right, actually, looking at this right here, boom, it went right down there. Okay, that's great, actually. I kind of missed it, to be honest, but it's whatever. Still a good enough spot to enter off of. Say 2 contracts. Now, let me see. I would normally target a 1 to 2 RR, but you also got to add a lot of discretion. I don't know exactly how I feel about this. I would say, what's this high at? I would look past it. I would say like, I would target a 1 to 1 with this. Yeah, 1 to 1, maybe a little more, like this up here. Like this high right here, the last high basically, the next high that really means anything at all. So yeah, all right. And then we put my thing, and then we'll just see how this plays out, and then we'll review it. Boom, got that. So it's like a 1 to 1.3, 4-ish. I don't know. 1 to 1.3. All right. Now let's see how this plays out. Alright, you see it's rejected at that same high, so that's not good looks. It inversed. Yeah, it's still struggling to break that high, so I don't know, this might be a dead trade. It might be a dead trade. Alright, never mind, that's a good sign. An inverse, retrace back into that fair value gap, and boom. Alright, TP. Alright, that was a good take then. Alright, so let's do a quick review, off that trade. It went out pretty well. That was a win. Alright, so we found our higher time frame bias, higher time frame zone, and our higher time frame OTE. You see, higher time frame bias, it was bullish, very obviously. Higher time frame zone was this flip zone that I was looking at right here. Higher time frame OTE, we marked out this leg, and we wanted to buy in discount. We were looking for long, so obviously we wanted to be in a discount, not a premium. And then once we have all of that, we can go down to our 1 minute. And after 1 minute, we're trying to find, a higher time frame continuation, but with a lower time frame reversal. All right. So, boom. Higher time frame, downtrend. It entered the zone and started slowing down. Now, it slightly broke structure, but, that's not really enough to do anything. It's more like an indicator. But a little bit after, it had created an inverse fair value gap. Then another fair value gap that it retraced into. That's a great. That's a great setup right there. So we took that, targeted a simple 1-to-1. I would normally do a 1-to-2, but I don't know. I didn't really trust that, mostly because of this right here. I wasn't really even too sure it was gonna break that. Now, it was a good setup, not the best setup. There's also other confirmations that we could have added on to it, but overall, it was pretty good. But yeah, that's the back test trade for today. I will see y'all later.